it said I had to read the policy on recording before it would let me record. So that's a first. All right. Let's get going here. All right. So wanted to tell everybody about this. This is actually being done through the Salt Lake Board of Realtors, but I know a lot of you do business up in Salt Lake County, and so we want to share this with everybody. So the Salt Lake Board of Realtors is giving back to the community by awarding 12 down payment grants, $5,000 each to first-time home buyers. The grants are typically awarded to first responders, school employees, single parents, veterans, military personnel. But the current grant is open to all first-time home buyers. So if you have somebody you think that this $5,000 grant could really benefit, it's on the saltlakerealtors.com/downpayment-grant. And I'll send out all these slides with the recording, and it will just be in the comments. So, but that's the Salt Lake Realtors. I don't think you have to be a member of the Salt Lake Board to let your clients participate, because your client will go in and fill out that application. So really super cool. Hopefully Elisa is on here. Elisa, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, excellent, because these next couple of slides are for you. This is kind of a little bit of a rerun of what we did last week, but I want to make sure everybody had the information because it is important. So 1099s and AR balances. So your 1099s will be mailed out by the 31st. Some of you may have already received them. If you pay under a business name, so if your check goes to Adana Geddes LLC or Karen Curtis Sells Homes or whatever your business name is, you won't get a 1099, right, Adana? Or Adana, Elisa? Sorry, yeah. Adana. You are not in charge of this section.
Coldwell Banker is no longer obligated to give 1099, so you can find it all in your ePay. And I sent out a link, and I can send it out again, showing you how to do that.
Yeah, so it's super easy. It's an IRS thing. So we're supposed to send out 1099s to individuals. So if we pay you directly as an individual and you're not set up as an LLC or an S Corp, then you'll get a 1099. So that's where the information is. Elisa sent out a step-by-step video. We'll send it out again. After February 8th, if you haven't gotten your 1099, you can call this 800 number that's on the screen, or the 1099 email as well. And then, of course, if you ever need any help getting into your AR account, then please reach out to one of us. But that's what Elisa showed you how to do, and all the information is there. You can pull it up anytime during the year. If you just want certain data for different dates, you can go back a couple of years. So it's really easy to access. This is what it looks like. And then the My Deals update. We just want to remind everybody that My Deals, I'll let Elisa and Michelle take this away. I shouldn't try and talk. This is their area of expertise. So Elisa, tell us about the update.
So starting today, I have not got on yet because I was late to work because of the road, sorry. But My Deals, you should be able to go into My Deals and update anything from prices to closing dates, anything within your My Deals tab now. You can go to My Deals, and I believe it reads list My Deals, or what does it say? I forget. Just a second, I'm jumping on. It's My Submitted Deals. You can click on My Submitted Deals and make changes there. You don't have to do a change form anymore. You just go in, you fill it out, and then it submits what needs to be submitted to the back end so we can get it changed. So you don't need to email, but if you would like, you can still email me the close dates or whatever, and I can do it right then and there. But there's no longer a need for submitted forms as of today, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Goes live today.
Yep. It's supposed to be live today. So just go in, My Submitted Deals. I would say it would probably be helpful if you move up your closing date and you change it in My Submitted Deals, just to maybe email Elisa so she knows that your closing dates have moved up, because she has a calendar and has everything mapped out according to when you submit your My Deals. But if it gets moved up, especially if it gets moved up substantially, then and earnest money trying to get everything wired into the closing table on time can be a real challenge to make sure we have it all there for you guys on the day. It shouldn't be a challenge if we have plenty of notice. So when your deals get moved up, go into My Deals, click My Submitted Deals, change the information, but then quickly send Elisa an email as well. I think that would probably be helpful. Yes, is that true, Elisa?
Yes. Closing dates, yes,
Okay.
especially as of lately.
Yes. Yes, really just the closing dates when they're moving up substantially, let us know. And then I've had a couple conversations with people. I just wanted to offer a little clarity. So Homebase is going away. So if you have a deal or you get a new listing as on Friday, February 5th, please do not submit it to Homebase until Monday. So over the weekend, they're going to be migrating all the files. Well, over on Friday and over the weekend, they'll be migrating all of the files from Homebase to our new system called Transaction Manager. And anything that gets entered after midnight on the 4th could potentially get lost in the giant sea, and who knows. So we don't want to we want to make sure we don't have any deals lost while we're in the migration process. So you have until midnight on the 4th. Just hold on to it, and then you can submit it on Monday the 26th, Monday, February 8th. Okay, so if it's in Homebase by the end of day on February 4th, no problem. It should transition just fine. It should migrate. It should be there. Okay.
The slide is
Alicia, is there a new tab that will be up there that won't say Homebase, will say Transaction Manager, and we just click like we've done in the past?
Yes. So we will be providing some training. Michelle and I have our last 2 rounds of training this week, and then there'll be training for agents as well. So
thanks.
So that will be forthcoming, and it's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be real time. All My Deals and Homebase will all be speaking to each other, and we're super excited. We're really excited for how much more simple this will make the process. Okay, here are some interesting statistics. I'm going to forward the email that I got from UCAR. It has a ton of data in it, but these were 2 that I picked out that I thought would be very interesting for you to see. It compares December from 2019 to 2020. So you can see new listings in December were down. Pending sales were only down a couple of percentage points. Our closed sales were actually up, and look at the median sales price and the average sales price, the jump. Almost 20% for the median and a little over 20% for the average sales price. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And then percent of original list price received, I thought this was interesting too. In 2019, it was 98.2%. And in 2020, we were at 101.4%, which I was actually a little surprised. It was only 101.4% after seeing some of the deals you guys have had to submit just to get accepted. Days on market went from 56 down to 27. Inventory of homes for sale, I thought this was really interesting. So in 2019 versus 2020, we went from 2,400 homes for sale in 2019 to 738. So that's a 70% reduction. And then our month's supply of inventory went from 2.8 to 0.7 in 2020. So just a really crazy, crazy market. I know I've seen a lot of chats on Facebook and different texts of agents that are super frustrated. How do I get my clients' offers accepted? And I think that would be a great discussion during wants and needs, a little closer to the end of the meeting. There were some great ideas that I thought were shared, and so I'd love to open that up, and you guys can talk about that. About things that, in fact, why don't we just open it up right now for just a couple of minutes and just share some, maybe if you have something that you really feel gives you the competitive edge when you're writing up offers in a really tough multiple offer situation, unmute yourself or put it in the chat and let's share your ideas. What are you doing that makes your offer stand out? Nobody?
One of the biggest things I would say and reiterate is always make sure you're calling the listing agent. Like when you know that your client is thinking about writing an offer, I call and I say, hey, my client loved this house. We're really thinking about writing an offer. What is it that your sellers are most looking for in their offer? And then kind of get an idea and build that relationship with that listing agent. And then one thing I've kind of learned too is try to be the first offer.
Yeah, that goes along with something that I saw the other day on a chat when somebody was super frustrated that a listing agent had said, we're going to be reviewing offers on Thursday at 9. And so an agent submitted their offer on Wednesday night and they said, oh, sorry, we've already accepted an offer. They were waiting for that deadline and they thought, well, great, we'll get it in by Thursday at 9 or whatever that timeline was. And it was too late. The seller had already found an offer that they liked and they went ahead and accepted it. I wouldn't advise that as a seller's agent because you'll have a lot of really angry agents. But as a buyer's agent, I would say Mary's right. Get in there as fast as you can. Be in the pile quick. Don't wait until the very end. What else are you guys doing? What else are you seeing? Donna made a great point the other day. We were in a conversation and she said how much she had learned from watching what other agents were submitting to her seller and how that had kind of given her some inspiration or some ideas of different things that she really liked or different things that were interesting to her sellers. So what are some things that you guys are seeing out there?
Alicia?
Yes.
So one discussion that we had was, I know there's a lot of hesitation with advising your buyers to waive due diligence and appraisal. And that's been a really complicated issue because there's so many that are really willing to do that right now in this crazy market, but it puts your buyers obviously at a disadvantage. And I feel also that it's not always the ethical thing to do. But one thing that's helped me, and actually I used this with 2 offers that did get accepted, was really just making the due diligence deadline really tight so that it gives that seller the reassurance that, you know, if we had to cancel upon due diligence, we only have 5 days to complete that due diligence. So it can be tough, but I found that the inspectors have been really willing to make time to get out there in the really tight deadlines and get the reports back. And then also just having a really strong earnest money amount, even though, you know, I always tell them I have a perfect track record. I've never had a client lose their earnest money because I'm going to watch out for it 100%. But just keeping those deadlines as tight as possible, and then just talking to the listing agent about that. And then also, I know appraisals are a tough thing right now, and we can't always waive the appraisal, but at least, you know, trying to make that as tight as we can, or, you know, if they need more time in the property, then of course give them that as well. But I always tell them too, like, I want to make this offer a good offer that can actually perform. I'm not going to give you an inflated offer that we're going to come back later on and change all of the terms. So I just try and be really forthcoming with the listing agent and just keep those deadlines tight and make it as clean and simple as possible.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrea.
Karen has her hand raised.
Anybody else? Who has her hand raised? Karen, take it away.
This is, I don't have a solution. I just want to complain. I showed a house Saturday morning. It went on the market Friday afternoon. I know you all have the same story. The listing agent happened to be at the showing because he was waiting for his buyers to come and see it. So we had a long conversation and we really connected, and I thought, oh, this is awesome. And I said, are we going to be in a big bind now because you're showing it to your buyers? And he was like, no, they have a house to sell. They just want to see everything that hits the market. So I felt comfortable there. And he said, my sellers are out of town and we're going to be reviewing offers Monday at 6. So I put the response deadline Monday at 8 p.m. I got the offer in at 12:30 Saturday. So Anyway, last night I went on the MLS to find his contact information. I had texted him, but it was lost in my texts. And it was already under contract. And the contract date was the 22nd. I saw the home on the 23rd. It was listed on the 22nd. And the contract date was the 22nd. So I reached out to him. Anyway, I guess where I'm frustrated is that the agent out of his mouth said to me in person, we will be reviewing offers Monday at 6 when my sellers get back into town. And so I asked him about that, the timing. And I guess that's where I'm frustrated is honesty in real estate, dishonesty in real estate, inflating a market so that everyone's going to be upside down. And these poor young kids are going to be $20,000 upside down in a house that they cannot get out of. And they'll have to hold on to it forever. They can't get a down payment for their next move. Let's say they get relocated. Let's say they have a brain tumor, they get it infirmed. And so I just need some guidance from, and I haven't given up hope yet, but are we allowed to put the contract date that it goes under contract before it actually went under contract? I don't know. I just need guidance, and I need to know what to tell my buyers next. What I am saying now is that when you get the house, you're supposed to have that house. Like now I have always believed in a higher power, no matter what that is for anyone. But I do believe that when they get the house, they will have needed to be in that particular home. And actually it worked because last week we put in an offer, and the next day, in fact, he's in surgery right now. He had an MRI and he has this huge brain tumor. So they weren't supposed to get the house, right? They weren't not supposed to be under contract. So I do believe in that, but I also am frustrated with honesty in real estate. And I'm just pissed off, actually. The end.
I think that crazy markets bring out the best and the worst in people. And I think we see that in agents, and I think we see it in buyers and sellers too. I think we see a lot of sellers who are trying to capitalize on this as much as they can. I mean, we all want as much money for our house as we can get, but this idea of people being in a home that they can't sell because they had to pay $20,000 over appraised value, and what happens if they have to sell it? So I totally agree. I mean, I wish I had an answer. I think the best thing that we can all do is be examples. I don't know what else to say. Be examples of what a true professional is. One of our agents got a big shout out on a Facebook page, Wasatch Front Realtors. I just call this Realtors. And because she is professional, and she called every single one of the rejected offers on a multiple offer situation, she called every single agent and talked to them and told them that their offer had not been accepted, instead of leaving everybody out in the dark. And I think it's little things like that that will set you apart. And so you want to be that way on every deal. But I agree, Karen, there's a huge lack of professionalism and a lack of ethics. So we do want to spotlight those agents when we see something good happen, because it feels like there's not a lot of that happening right now. Anybody have anything else they want to share?
I am seeing that there's some seller agents that are kind of cutting it off early too, because they're getting so many offers and they're getting overwhelmed. And I think their sellers are getting overwhelmed. So just again, I know it's hard for a lot of agents, but try to get in that home right when it lists, because that's helped me on both my deals that we've gone under contract on. We saw it within hours of it listing, and we were one of the first offers. So it helped a lot.
Another suggestion that I saw yesterday was trying to get with this whole waiving of the appraisal, get your appraisal done during due diligence so that you can still cancel at the end of due diligence. So you can cancel for any reason in due diligence. I see a couple of hands raised. I've got Erica, then Andrea, and then Chris Hammond. We'll go in that order. Erica, take it away.
I was just gonna say, if you are representing a seller, remember that if people say that they will waive the appraisal, that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't cancel under finance. If they can't afford to pay over, you need to know that. So don't forget to talk to their lender and make sure they have the cash. If they're saying that they're going to waive the appraisal, that they can still actually afford the house if the appraisal comes in low.
Great advice. Andrea.
Oh, I was just going to say, submit backup offers and ask for backup offers. So I've had 2 instances, one on the buy side and one on the sell side, where escalation clauses have kind of blown up in their face because they left them open-ended. And then on my buyer's side, the winning bid had an escalation clause that they couldn't perform. So my buyers were in backup position and got notified the next day, actually. So that got them the property. And then on one of my listings, we did the same thing. We had an accepted offer. They actually had a cap on their escalation clause, but got cold feet the next day and canceled. And we had a backup offer in position already. So I would say, when in doubt, just put those backup offers in.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Okay, Chris Hammond.
We've had, because I work for an investor, we've had some interesting things happen where seller or agents are calling him on the side and saying, will you sell your property? And one that I mentioned to you, which we talked about, where the agent said to the seller, well, I know you don't have it listed, but you don't need to use the agent that you have. We'll just do it on and off. And we talked about the ethics of that. And I don't understand in this environment where things are moving so fast, the need to be unethical. I mean, we're all in this business to serve our people and to provide a service and make things move smoothly. So that, I just don't understand is my comment, I guess. And also on this, I want to ditto the fact of calling the agent, forming a relationship, being prepared to move forward as quickly as you can with the lender and have everything in place before you make that offer.
Yeah, great advice. It's happening at a breakneck speed right now, isn't it? So, well, great advice. If you think of something that you want to share, throw it in the chat. We'll also have wants and needs. So if you think of something later that you want to share, you can do it there. So,
Alicia?
okay.
Alicia?
Yes.
Christy has her hand up.
Oh, Christy. I don't even see Christy.
Yeah, sorry,
I'm
sharing a computer with Erica right now because we share an office. So if we have both going, it obviously makes loud noises. So just a couple thoughts. I think there's certain agent specific behaviors and there's certain buyer specific behaviors when we're writing a good offer. And I think one of the things we're trying to do ahead of time is spend more time with our buyers up front and preparing them for the market, introducing them to all the different strategies that we're seeing, testing their comfort level, kind of seeing where they're at, encouraging them to save, encouraging them to, get things ready ahead of time. And so when we present an offer, we try and go kind of more of a perspective of we're creating a package. An offer is more than just an offer price and a close date, right? And so anticipating the needs of the seller, addressing the home inspection, saying the buyer will pay $500 of the first $500 of repairs. Obviously the appraisal will be ordered right away, or willing to pay a certain amount above appraised value. But I also think the conversation that you can have with the listing agent, I also, like Karen, am struggling with this idea of just this overinflated market, and that I think some agents and sellers aren't seeing the long-term effects that this is going to have. And so when I call the agent, we'll even talk to them a little bit about that to kind of get a feel for where they stand on that. And some of them haven't even really thought about the long-term effects, but even just having that conversation, I think, and just saying and asking, have you had that conversation with your seller that sometimes the highest price offer is not the best offer and what we're doing? But then also at a minimum, and this is kind of a question for the office as well, is when we have a listing where we get, so many offers and our seller does take one that's pretty high where maybe they waive appraisal and we know it's going to come in low, but they're going to come up with it in cash. Can we, in the closing remarks, when we close out that on the MLS, at least at a minimum, start to encourage agents to put that information on the MLS so that appraisers see it? That this property appraised for this, or this property, the seller paid the difference in cash, or whatever kind of thing, just because, again, I'm worried about the long-term effects, especially for our first-time home buyers, where they're getting priced out of the market every time a house goes up for sale, and so every 20, 30,000, even 5 or 10,000 that a person pays above appraised value, it continues to overinflate those first-time home buyer price, neighborhoods. So anyways, those are just a few of my thoughts.
I love that idea of putting that in the remarks. I think that is an excellent idea and probably something that should be suggested to the MLS. I wonder if that's something that, there's some kind of field or something that could be added that it would show that. That's a great suggestion. All right, you guys are great. Oh, Karen.
Sorry, really quick. I know you want to move on. I have a couple under contract right now that I represent the seller, and I just wanted to do a little warning. I got 2 due diligence extension requests based on the fact that the radon results hadn't come in. So I called the inspector and the radon results are in, and the radon is just fine. And so I'm advising my sellers, we are not extending due diligence. And so I think that's what's happening, which we all know on the buyer side of things, that we are hurrying and doing that appraisal during the due diligence period. But be very, very careful as you represent your seller to not allow those normal extensions that you would. And then we have the COVID addendum that is saying we need to extend if necessary. And so I think it's really suspect on both sides. And to me, I just want to operate in integrity. And when I first joined Coldwell Banker and I went through JTM, they taught me there's power in telling the truth. There's power in telling the truth. Now that may take me 15 offers for one buyer, but there's power in telling the truth. And we're going to be on the up and up on both sides of things. But for my sellers right now, I'm having to protect them because one of them is 15,000 over appraised value, right? So they are doing some snarky stuff to get an extension so that they can back out based on due diligence, not on finance and appraisal. So I just wanted to throw that out there too, that I'm being uber cautious on the selling side of things as well, because I think buyers are desperate as we are. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I hope that this is a valuable part of sales meeting. In my mind, hearing from you guys sharing, and you're the ones out there on the front line. So I love having you guys share these ideas with each other. I hope you guys are finding some great value in this as well. Okay, so you can see on your screen, Inman Connect, January 26th to 28th, really cool summit. For those of you who don't subscribe, Inman's a great magazine. It keeps you on the cutting edge of what's happening in real estate. So our CEO, Ryan Gorman, will be at Inman Connect. They interview him often. He's going to speak during one of the general sessions. So we have a link that we'll share if you are interested in attending Inman Connect. It's normally 100 and I can't do the math apparently. It's like $150, but you are going to get it for the sweet price of $59 with our link and the Coldwell Banker Network. So I will send that out to everybody. That's January 26th through the 28th. So they'll have 3 days of workshops. Really cool thing, if you order through Listing Concierge and sign up with VHT until the end of March, they're going to offer a free floor plan enhancement that you can list with your listing on the MLS. So if you do your photography through VHT until the end of March, you can get the floor plan as well. Okay, we've talked a little bit about this, but we have some new digital content partnerships with our Coldwell Banker Global Luxury Program. I don't know a lot about it, so I'm going to pretty much read this so I don't say it incorrectly. James Edition is a one-of-a-kind comprehensive digital classified for some of the most valued listings in the world. Along with James Edition, luxury listings will also syndicate to Bloomberg, leveraging the power of one of the world's biggest media companies, placing your high-end listings in front of the world's elite global leaders. The syndication enhancement started on Monday, January 11th on global luxury listings priced at 1 million or more. You don't need to do anything. If your property meets the requirements, it will automatically be syndicated to James Edition and Bloomberg. So in addition to these enhancements, the New York Times no longer syndicates from real estate brokerages. So we won't be in the New York Times anymore, but we will be in James Edition and Bloomberg. So if you are doing global luxury, we want to leverage everything we can, right? So the whole idea is that if you list with Coldwell Banker Global Luxury, we're going to get you in front of the people that are actually going to buy your house. So great information. If you need any more information on that, I would say John and Molly are going to be your go-tos. And our next slide, we're going to let Molly talk a little bit about this because she's going to tell us about her how-to that she's going to do at the end of sales meeting.
Grandma, you want to see this?
Hey, thanks. So yeah, I am going to be sticking around for just like you guys know, like 5 minutes after sales meeting to show you how to use this stuff I'm about to talk about. So some of you probably already know what we're looking at right now. You're like, oh, I already have all this ready to go, queued up in my social media. I'm on top of things, Molly. I know I'm looking at the BrandServe holiday posts that are always available throughout the year. I can type in the name of any month into BrandServe and it will pull up a nice little set of holiday posts. I know a lot of you already know that, but for those of you who might be new or haven't had a chance to go into BrandServe, I just wanted to remind you, so this is what the February holidays look like. It's not all of them, but it's a good lineup. So you can see we have the Black History Month post, and we also have National Love Your Pet Day. So it'll actually tell you on the post which day they're supposed to go up on, so you don't have to remember what every holiday is. And like I said, you can have them queued up in advance. Facebook's really nice. That it actually will link over to Instagram now, which is so helpful, but also it will allow you to post things up to like 180 days in advance. So you can really start planning out your holidays. That's the way that I personally like to do things because I don't like to have to remember when holidays are. I just like to relax. So when we're after the meeting, I'm going to show you guys where to find these, of course, so that you can do that. But also, I'm going to show you guys where you can find some of the newer tactic posts. That's what they call them, tactics. And for example, the one that's most recent is they have a right sizing kind of post, and it's just a very general post. It says, more or less, it's all about right sizing instead of downsizing or upsizing. They're talking about right sizing, picking the right home for you. Very general marketing, but the reason I bring it up is because they have started adding copy to all of these posts so that you don't actually have to write your own copy if you don't want to. So that'll save you a lot of time. And again, these are pretty general, so you can queue them up on weeks that maybe you don't have anything planned in your social media. You can just have them ready to go. You'd be like, oh, here's my Monday morning post, and I already have my copy written. So I'll show you guys where to find all that good stuff in BrandServe. And like I said, it'll be about 5 minutes. It's a pretty simple program. So yeah, stick around afterwards.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Molly. All right, next up we have John Harrison with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. John, what wonderful message do you have for us today about the mortgage industry? You are on mute, John. I cannot hear John. Can anybody else hear John?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There's something.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's why you couldn't hear when I was trying to say something earlier then. Yeah. For some reason, with the other monitor on this new one, this new docking station, it doesn't have any sound. So strange. I sent to Michelle to send out flyers. Once again, remind you guys, they asked us to remind you about the $500 incentive for your borrowers that are going to buy. We'd love to have them try us out, see what the experience is like. As Chris Hammond said, get with whoever you're working with, your lender. Make sure you have your stuff put together. Make sure they've got their tax returns in, their pay stubs. A lot of times we're asking people now get their verification of employment in, especially if they have overtime or bonuses and things like that. If they have not been there for 2 years, it's really a struggle. We have to get exceptions. Anything under a year, they won't even look at. So just make sure they're ready. The one thing I am seeing, and I'm seeing a lot of this, is we are getting a lot more borrowers coming from out of state. They are paying over appraisal, over asking price. I'm seeing a lot of the ones that I keep seeing that are successful are people who are saying, you know, it's just stupid money. I feel bad for the young people, to be honest. I couldn't even afford my own house now. But they're putting in 10, 15, 20,000 over the list to win, but they're guaranteeing, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 over the appraisal because they know it's not going to come in. Most of the realtors know it's not going to be there, you know, and in most cases, those are the ones I'm seeing win. So if they don't have any money, it does make it a lot harder. So we're trying to tell people, you know, start saving money, you know, put it away. You can't have money just suddenly appear in your account. We've got to prove where everything comes from. If you're self-employed, especially, you know, 80% of self-employed borrowers still are getting declined because of COVID and the fear that they have. They're telling us that not really here in Utah, but outside of Utah, we expect to see anywhere between 3 to 6 million foreclosures started in this first 6 months of this year because of people on deferment for a year. That deferment is now over this month. So just know, I mean, talk to your borrowers. The biggest thing I try to emphasize is, you know, we're here to help them. I'm hoping that we appreciate them and we want them to have a good experience. But at the same point, we don't want them to be so house poor that they can't enjoy life. So that's my biggest thing is I just tell people is, you know, I like the people I work with. I enjoy what I do. And I tell them straight up a lot of times, guys, yeah, I can qualify you for this, but you know what? You might want to back down a little bit so you can afford to go out to dinner together because I do get a lot of divorces. And we're seeing more and more of that. So, you know, just realize biggest isn't always the best offer. Again, tighten up your dates, you know, make sure to talk to your lender to see what's reasonable. You know, as far as an appraisal goes, for an extra $150, a lot of times you can get an appraisal back in 3 to 4 days versus the 8 to 10 days. If that's something that's really important, that's the cheapest thing you can do.
Yeah.
You know, so let us know what we can do to help. I think Jared, are you on this?
I am.
I invited Jared Christensen as one of our new loan officers also that'll be here in the office. And I was just going to let him introduce himself real quick and we'll get out of your way. But Jared, if you want to introduce, I don't know if you have your camera so they can see what you look like. But if you'd like to tell me who you are.
I'm here. I'm happy to be a part of Guaranteed Rate. I also speak Spanish. If you guys need any help in that regard, please let me know.
I can only see half your eyes.
Ah, is that
There
better? Yes. So good to meet you. I speak Spanish and I'm here to help. If you guys need anything, just send me over a message or contact John, and love to be a part of making people happy. And I'm very personable, so look forward to working with you guys.
And
Okay, we're going to put that to the test, Jared.
That's right. I've known Jared for a long time. He just had a new baby just last month. So fun times. Just also remember, guys, too, if there is a loan officer that you truly love, you know, or a processor or underwriter, anything like that, just, I know, reach out to us. We are hiring left and right. I know Clay is interviewing probably on average 6 to 12 people a week. And I know that they've hired another 4 or 5 back-end people in the last 10 days. So they are wanting to up it up and get it so that we are prepared, so that we don't have any slowdowns for you, so that we can make this as smooth a transaction as possible.
Hey, John.
Awesome. That's great.
John.
Yes.
Chris and Helene both had questions. Chris's was, what will the foreclosures do to the market? And Helene is, John, are we expecting to see foreclosure cases here in Utah because of COVID?
You know, and what I'm seeing is around the country, there's going to be states that are affected a lot more than we are. The biggest thing here in Utah, because of our absurd amount of money that our houses are going up, even people who bought a year to 18 months ago are able to sell their house and pay the realtors and walk out break even. So I'm not expecting to see a lot of foreclosures here in Utah. I really am not. As far as out of the state, we do think it's going to happen. I don't know that it's going to affect us as much. Once again, you have money that they're saying is going to go out to everybody. And as long as the government keeps increasing this debt that we're in, they're going to artificially keep these interest rates low. So that's the only good thing about it, is rates are expected to stay low even if there's other issues, they think that they're going to be, artificially kept as low as they are. So just know, I mean, almost every product is in the 2%. I mean, it's just unbelievable when I think about buying my first house less than, 20 years ago that I did my own loan. And I remember getting 7% going, oh my gosh, I scored. And now if somebody gets 3%, they're telling me how terrible it is. And I'm like, oh, perception. So yeah, I don't think foreclosures are really, I've only seen one or two around here, and most of them have been, the one down where I live was just under foreclosure for $1 million. So, people just got really absurd in what they borrowed. But in most cases, like I said, with values going up 8 to 12% a year, we just won't, I don't think we're going to see it as much.
Awesome. Thanks, John. And welcome aboard, Jared. We're excited to have you.
Appreciate you guys.
Okay. Miss Ty
Thank
Watson
you.
is here with us. We're super excited to have Ty here. So I'm just going to turn a little bit of time over to her and take it away, Ty.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm really excited about some new coverage that we're rolling out effective February 1st. So any orders that are placed before February 1st are going to be our existing coverage. Anything afterwards, after February 1st, will have a couple of changes. So one of them is that all of our Shield Complete products, when you order that, will now offer unlimited refrigerant coverage. And this one's big because for about 4 years now, we've been trying to fray off the costs of, the rising price of the refrigerant. And I mean, you're talking about $80 to $100 per pound when the homeowner has a need for refrigerant in their AC system. And we were only paying $10 per pound of that. Now with the Shield Complete, we'll be paying the full cost of any refrigerant. So it's going to be saving your clients, sometimes $500, sometimes $1,000. And then the other option that we've added is a roof leak repair coverage. And it'll cover up to $1,500 in roof leak repairs for the term of the contract, and the option is $100. Now, there have been some price changes, and I'll be bringing by the new brochures later this week. There's been some price changes, and not just price increases. Of course, we did increase with the Shield Complete because of the enhanced coverage by $50, but our Shield Essential has gone down in price. And of course, our condo coverage remains very, very competitive. So always think of us for that. I know there's a lot of townhouses on the market right now. So that's all I have. And I appreciate you having me on the call today. And by the way, I love how engaging everybody is in this office. You're the only office where people are talking in the meeting. Everybody else is just listening. So that's awesome.
Oh. I get tired of hearing my own voice. I know my kids would probably say that that's not the truth, but it is. So I like to hear everybody else. That's good.
Yeah.
It's nice to have you. It's nice to have you live with us, Ty. Your videos are awesome, but you're way better in person too.
Thanks. I'm going to start trying to get around more. It's nice having the office meetings staggered a little bit more now, and with there being 7 offices instead of 10 this year, it helps me to be able to be in person a little bit more.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Ty.
And I love your skiing pictures, by the way.
Oh, thanks. There's maybe more falling than skiing, but that's okay. I did it.
That's awesome. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thanks, Ty. All right, Coaching to Confidence. You guys, we have, of course, a ton of classes coming up. I wanted to point out our AMP class. If AMP is not necessarily geared towards new agents. So I think a lot of times agents look at this class and they think, oh, well, I'm not a new agent. I know how to do these things. Yeah, you probably do know how to do these things, but are you doing these things? Do you have the systems in place? Have you perfected it? Do you have the tools and the training and really know how to get your business up and running again? So if you're kind of in that spot where you're thinking, I need to do a little more, I need to put on the gas a little bit this year, then AMP is coming up. It's the 2nd through the 25th. It's from 1 to 4. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it's just 8 sessions. It's a great class. It's delivered virtually with Stacey Staley at the helm. And I would really encourage you, if you're thinking, I really need to amp it up this year, then definitely jump on Sales Pro and get signed up for that. I wanted to remind everybody about our vision board class tomorrow. We're not just making the actual vision boards, although we will be doing that, but Casey and Alexis are going to kind of guide us through the process of figuring out what our vision actually is. I'm really excited. I've looked through their materials and I'm really impressed with it. So I'm really excited about this. This will be tomorrow at 10. If you want to do it live, we'll have limited seating in our office so that we can spread out the tables. But we'll also put it on Facebook Live in our office, on our office page. So if you want to do it virtually, you can as well. So we'll have both options, and it's geared towards virtual or live, so you should be good. So if you want to be in person, make sure Michelle knows about it. And then there is a link on our Facebook page. They have a kit that has, I'm not kidding, so many pictures, so many motivational phrases, and it has all the sheets kind of to run through and really help you develop your vision. And that link is posted on our Facebook page. So watch for that. Okay, we have a new FHA addendum. Yay? I don't know if yay is the word, but there's a couple things I wanted to go through with you guys, and I'm going to pull up my memo here from our attorney to make sure I tell you right. This is what the new addendum looks like. It should be in .loop. So you can see up here, paragraph 2 is changed. There's not a ton of change, but a couple of things that are really important that will hopefully help it be easier, make it an easier form for you to use. So
hey, really quickly, Seth, do you mind? I'm like, either am I the only one that's blurred or can't see? Like, I can't see the addendum. I can only see Leisha blurred. Do you think it's or is it everybody else having the same problem?
I'm seeing everything okay.
Dang. Okay.
I'm better blurry, Adana. It's better if you see me.
No, you're so pretty. Okay, so maybe I'll sign out and sign back in then, I guess.
Okay, and you know what? I'll send this out, and so you'll be able to see it. I'll send out the actual form as well. I'll attach it to an email. So if all you can do is listen in, I'll go through all the changes, and then you'll be able to read it when you, I'll attach it to the email with the slides so you can have the actual form. Okay, so paragraph 2, you're going to be able to check FHA loan or VA, so it will be clear which one they are getting. I think the biggest change, in my opinion, is in section 3, where we talk about the finance and appraisal deadline. So the former version provided that the buyer would not be obligated to complete the purchase if the purchase price exceeded the reasonable value based on the FHA or VA appraisal. But there was no language that addressed the timing of the receipt of the appraisal, which often led to different disputes in relation to the finance and appraisal deadline when the appraisal came in late. So the revised version now clears this up in paragraph 3, which begins with the language notwithstanding the financing and appraisal deadline, if applicable. What this language means is that the finance and appraisal deadline in the REPC is no longer relevant to the timing of receipt of the FHA or VA appraisal. Even if the appraisal comes in after the expiration of the financing and appraisal deadline and is below the purchase price, the buyer will not be obligated to complete the purchase, and they will be entitled to return of the earnest money deposit. So we've got a little bit of clarification, could change how you look at FHA deals. Definitely want to make sure that we're getting those appraisals in. If you do have the luxury of having a finance and appraisal deadline, you're going to want to make sure you get those appraisals received before that deadline. Also, paragraph 3 includes language to address the scenario where the lender may require certain loan documentation to be signed by the seller. So it clarifies that they agree to cooperate and sign any required documentation that does not substantially alter the rights and obligations of the buyer. So if it's only those documents that are required by the lender that do not substantially change the terms of the agreed upon REPC. Other than that, let me see, paragraph 5 addresses the obligation of the seller to provide a pest report. And then also it makes it clear that the amount that they would pay for the pest remediation is in addition to any amount that they would pay in paragraph 4, which is the agreed upon repairs. So that makes it clear that there's the agreed upon repairs as well as pest control.
Okay,
that
wait a
could be
second.
paid.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Seller shall furnish the buyer a current pest control report. Does that mean they're having to order one?
Yeah, seller shall furnish buyer with a current pest control report showing the property to be free and clear from termite infestation. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't notice that before. Yes.
Remember, that's only
So,
if
yes.
required, though. Sometimes it's not required.
Is this
Yes,
gonna
and
make
this
FHAs harder now?
I think that I think all the new agents are going to say, "Oh yeah, we have to have it. Our lenders will require it."
So how do we know whether so should we be talking to the inspector and saying we need do you do pest reports? And if this is going to be FHA, they have to do a pest report here in Utah?
I would talk to the lender. Yeah. So if it ends up going FHA, if your buyer is FHA, then you would want to talk to the lender right away and find out if that's something that's going to be required. So that question I
Is
cannot.
Don
I
still
don't
on
know the
here?
answer to
Does
that.
he know whether those are required things with what they do from Guaranteed? How would they respond to that question?
John, are you still on?
Not sure, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Send that to me though. That would be wonderful, and then I can go and check for us.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send it over. I will send out this form to everyone, and then if you can get an answer for us on that, that would be good.
Nope, that'd be great. I can have an answer and send it to Michelle to send out to everybody probably later today.
Okay, perfect. Was there another question about that?
I think Andrea's statement is something, I mean, that's my thing, is only for VA loans. I've never had it required for FHA, and especially here in Utah. And so
it says if required by applicable FHA or VA rules. So we'll find out if that is applicable here. It may not be, but we'll check into that. So it may or may not be required. So
When do we have to start using this new one by?
it's already in .loop. So you should be using it right now.
Do we have to though?
Yes, you do. It's a state approved form.
Okay.
Hey, Lisa.
So if you have an agent that sends you the old one, well, if you are representing a buyer that's FHA, you are required to use this. If you are representing a seller and the agent sends over an old form, then just go with what they send you, I guess. I'll double check on that with the attorney and see what he wants us to do. Yes, who had a question?
That was me, Andrea. So on the clause about the appraisal, so when representing on the seller side, is this saying that, say the appraisal comes in 2 days before closing, we've passed the finance and appraisal deadline, but the appraisal comes in low, say it was late for some reason with, that happens with VA consistently.
Yes.
Are they saying that at that time they can get their earnest money back because of the low appraisal?
Yes.
Hearing that correctly?
Yeah. Here, I'll read it directly from what the attorney said. What this language means is that the finance and appraisal deadline in the REP-C is no longer relevant to the timing of receipt of the FHA or VA appraisal. Even if the appraisal comes in after the expiration of the finance and appraisal deadline and is below the purchase price, the buyer will not be obligated to complete the purchase, and they will be entitled to a return of the earnest money deposit.
I just feel like that really makes it difficult on our VA and FHA buyers to get offers accepted, even more so now, because
yeah, they won't be
Absolutely.
accepted now. They will not be accepted now. I
Yeah,
don't even think
already
they were,
know now.
they weren't going to be
It
accepted
is.
even before
And
that.
now they're saying no matter what point of the contract we're in, you know, a day before closing, yes, we're still waiting on appraisal, whatever. It just leaves that unknown uncertainty for our sellers that's really hard to advise them even. Like, how do we advise them that that's okay? Like, I want to get these VA offers accepted because I feel like, you know, they deserve it, but yet they're put at such a disadvantage with these types of clauses in there.
I have a question.
Well, and let's clarify. They're not obligated. It doesn't mean that they can't. They could still buy the house if they have the ability to do so. The problem is if they come in with and they don't have enough money and they have to pay the difference, they could still move forward. So they can still get a loan, but they would have to make up the difference. So, I mean, it's obviously a challenge, but so it's not that they can't move forward. They just have the choice to not move forward.
Right.
I also think that this makes it really important that when you are representing a seller, unfortunately, you have to make sure that they understand what the FHA guidelines and rules are. And in the past, I don't know if it's happening a lot now, but in the past, I've seen people who midstream, they'll switch from doing conventional to FHA. So they didn't know when they went under contract that it was going to be FHA, and then, or they knew and they just didn't disclose it to the seller, and then they switch midstream. That would totally change the rules of engagement on this. So
yeah, I also worry a
So
little
just make-
bit that it may take some of the pressure off on the lending side to adhere to those deadlines. So I feel like that's a concern as well, because now they know that by this addendum, you know, they are protected, that they don't necessarily have to meet their deadlines. I'm sure most of them still try, but that is a concern as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could we
Yeah.
counteract this with an addendum? Just say buyer waives
This
the right.
this is an FHA VA loan addendum. My understanding is that this comes from FHA and VA. This is an addendum made by the state, but this is what FHA and VA want signed.
What I'm meaning though is like, we'll send this, but then send like another addendum and saying buyer chooses on section of FHA addendum to not adhere to that date.
I don't
it.
think that's an option. In section 8, it says if any provision in the Rep C or this addendum is inconsistent with any currently applicable law governing FHA VA loan transactions, then to extent of such inconsistency, that law shall govern. So even if you threw in an addendum, if it's required by FHA, I mean, if that's what they've set forth as a stipulation to receive an FHA loan, then you can't alter that, is my understanding.
And also, if the appraisal comes in really late, like Andrea was talking about, and it's way below and they don't have the money, then they're giving up their earnest money. If you've done,
No.
if you did the
Well,
addendum,
the seller does.
it didn't, right. Well, either way, it's a mess.
The buyer gets their earnest money back if the appraisal comes in low and they cancel.
Well, no, I was reflecting on, we've got in the chat, which I thought was good, is to have an addendum that removed that so that you would be more likely to be the one out of the 8 that's selected. But if you have an FHA loan with this in there and the seller looks at it and they say the risk here is just too high, that person could back out, especially when we're overbidding on price. And
right.
And so then as the seller's not protected, because you could go, as was mentioned, all the way up to 3 days before you have the closing, and then the appraisal comes in and then everything's a mess. And the buyer can still get all their money back, and you as the seller have given all this time up. So it's a question.
So it's
but
interesting.
I don't think that you can do an addendum removing that part of this addendum.
it's interesting because there has been this similar verbiage in the original FHA-VA addendum. It's just been clarified here. It's always been there.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I would guess the majority of listing agents don't even know that this is there. I mean, maybe now they're going to be getting training in their brokerages because there's a new one, but it's always kind of, well, it's always been there, just not as clear.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting
Yes.
too. I mean, I've seen this happen where we get multiple offers and I'll be looking at the offers and there's no FHA or VA addendum submitted. But if you look closely at the pre-approval letter, it says that it's for an FHA loan. Or when I call the lender, they disclose, you know, I make sure I ask that question. This is for a conventional loan, right? Or because some agents are trying to slide in under the radar that it's not an FHA loan, hoping you'll accept it, and then they want to bring out the addendum later. And that is crummy, like to know that. So, and I've had conversations with agents before where I'll say, hey, you didn't submit an FHA-VA loan addendum, but your lender says it's going to be an FHA loan. Did you know that? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, well, I was just going to do it later. Or is that addendum really like required, you know? And so it kind of shows just their character a little bit, and it's a little bit frustrating. And I get it. I mean, in this market, it is so hard, and especially when you have an FHA buyer. I mean, a Utah housing loan, good luck, right? You know? So I get it, but it's always been there anyway. I would guess the majority of people don't even realize what it really is saying. Now that it's clarified even more, it'll be, you know, hopefully spelled out. But
yeah. Well, I even think this addendum is still a little bit confusing. I had to read the addendum a couple of times, and then I had to read what our attorney sent us. And I know that there's a large majority of agents who won't even realize this until they probably sit down in front of a client and have to fill it out, and then they see the changes. So I feel fortunate that we have an attorney that sends us these forms and then explains everything to us. So, but you're right, it is clarification. It doesn't change the terms. It's just clarification of what the terms meant before. So, okay, I'm going to go over one last quick change. And we are definitely over time, and I don't want to take any time from Molly because I want you guys to learn how to do these social media posts. So the last thing is it's just revised. It replaces former paragraph 5.1. It's paragraph 6. It provides that the sellers shall contribute. Before, you had an option to say that they were or were not required to contribute. Now it just says that they shall, and then it has a blank space, contribute towards closing costs. Under the revised form, it is no longer an option, it is mandatory, but you can alter that amount or strike the provision entirely through a counteroffer. So you could counteroffer and say, no, we're not going to pay any closing costs. Another change in paragraph 6 is the language that any unused portion of seller's contribution may, at buyer's option, be used to reduce the purchase price. Previously, any portion of the seller's contribution that exceeded the amount of the loan costs were to be returned to the seller. Under the new form, the buyer has the option, but not the obligation, to return any excess to the seller. So, some clarification, a few changes. We all know it's been hard to get FHA and VA loans in this market accepted anyway. But like I said, we'll send this out. We'll get the information from John on the pest control and send that out as well so that you're all updated. And then if you think of any other questions, let us know and we'll make sure we get those answered. Okay, Global Luxury Certification course coming up the 23rd and 24th. It will be virtually delivered. So if you want to be a luxury certified agent at Coldwell Banker, which gives you different marketing opportunities, then this is your chance to do that. We will send out the link for that. We cannot end our meeting without wishing a happy birthday to Christy Dimmick in 4 days. Happy birthday, Christy. And then happy birthday to Karen Curtis on February 2nd. So we hope that you guys actually get to do something fun. Eat your favorite meal, watch a movie, wear your jammies all day, whatever floats your boat. So happy birthday to our friends. And Michelle, do we have a winner for our My Deals this week?
Of course we do. I love Skylar's like on it. Come on. Okay, so the people who were spot on with their paperwork: Skylar, Kathy, Christy, Grant, Andrea, Holly, Michelle Miller, Ahmed, and Mary. Good job, guys. And our winner is Skylar. Holla! We'll get you a gift card this week, and we'll put it in your box. I'll let you know when it's there, okay?
Awesome. All right. Also, we've got to make sure that you know that because we can't meet in a large group for our awards celebration, that we're going to do it a little bit differently this year. So your award assets, or your things that you can put on social media and share with everybody, those will be available to you on desk on February 2nd at 10 a.m. So when you get into desk, I'm just going to read this again because I won't say it right. Greeting in desk with link to award package and social assets. So it'll say, welcome, get your awards package and your social media assets now. It will be on desk and available to you for 30 days. And when it's there, we can show you and walk through, but there'll be a pop-up indicating that you're an award winner, and you just have to follow the prompts and click through to get your social media assets. And we are going to be having an award celebration. So we want everybody to save the date for February 16th at noon. We have more details to come, but this is when we'll be doing our awards ceremony for this year. So I'm excited to see what it's going to look like. It will be a surprise to me at this point as well. So I'm sure we'll have more details as we get a little bit closer. So just as we close, and then we'll do wants and needs and turn the time over to Molly. But I wanted to share a really quick story that I heard yesterday from an agent who came on to our office from a different brokerage, Angie Barker. And she posted on Facebook last week that she had closed a deal, and it's her first deal that she's closed since she came to Coldwell Banker. And immediately one of our agents, Jenny Ochinelli, and Jenny will probably be embarrassed that I'm sharing this, but I wanted to. She reached out to Angie and said, congratulations, that's so awesome. We should get together and go to lunch and you know, spend a little time together, get to know each other. So I just thought that was great. We don't hear enough positive right now in the world. And so I was really thrilled to hear. I love seeing our agents take care of each other. And I know there's a lot of you that are doing that. That's just the one that I heard about yesterday. And I'm just grateful for your associations and how well you all work with each other, and the abundance mindset that we have in our office, that we can help each other grow and bless each other's lives. And there's still enough business out there for all of us. So you guys are awesome. Are there any wants or needs, any great new listings that you guys want to share before we close down for the day and turn over some time to Molly?
I have a great new overpriced listing in Heber.
Excellent. Cindy, tell us about that.
It is a great home with 7 bedrooms, 4.5 baths on a 1.44 acres of horse property that's already fenced. They've got a barn with an elevator that takes the hay bales up to store up on the 2nd floor. So you can store, I don't remember how many 100 bales, but it's just a beautiful property with lots of windows and tons of great views. All the great views that we want you to pay for up here.
Awesome. Maybe we can bring some of our first-time home buyers up there.
That's it.
Maybe we could take a pool of them. Some of them could sleep in the barn. Some of them could have a couple bedrooms in the house.
Bring 7 of them and they could afford it together.
There you go. Excellent. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, Karen, go ahead.
I have a listing in Saratoga Springs coming up. I think it'll be $499.9. That will be live on February 8th, Monday. I have a listing in Bountiful that will be live February 1st. And I have a listing in Linden that will be live probably in about 3 weeks. So if you have any buyers in Saratoga in the 500 range, if you have any buyers in Bountiful in the $400,000 range, Linden, I don't know yet. I'm meeting with them tonight. But yeah, I feel like in this market, we need to help each other out with getting first dibs. So, and then I don't know how that looks with the board and all that with limited agency, but hey, it's worth a shot. Maybe you'll return the favor to me with my buyers.
Yep. You know what? You can totally do it. It's a simple form. You represent your client. The other agent represents theirs. But if we can that's part of the power of being at a brokerage like Coldwell Banker, that we should be able to get each other in the door first. So that's why we do this. So
Hey, Karen,
excellent.
can you, in the chat, Sylvia's interested in the Saratoga Springs and Erica's, do you see that? Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, I love you all. I hope I see many of you on our vision board class tomorrow at 10, and we'll have some treats and yummy things at the office. So, and I think we'll have plenty of room, but we do want to have a head count so we can make sure we have enough poster boards and enough treats for everybody. So shoot that over to Michelle right away or put it in the chat. And I will now turn the time over to Miss Molly.
I have a question.
Tell us about our brown serve. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
With the vision board tomorrow, if we buy the $19.99 package, are you guys able to print that for us? I only have a black and white paper, so.
Yep, we can print it out for you. So let me know if you want us to print it. You can send it ahead of time, or you can just print it tomorrow while you're here. Same with any of the images that you decide to put on your vision board. We'll have posters there, but we're also happy to print those out if you want to put them, do that all in color.
How long will it last?
So we're thinking like an hour-ish will be her presentation. And then, and she'll get us going during the presentation, and then people can stay as long as they want.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Okay. All right, Molly, teach us your ways of using BrandServe on social media.
You got it, guys. And like I said, I'll only take 5 minutes. So, yeah, let me just go ahead and share my screen really quick. I'm already in BrandServe. Make it really easy for you. If you don't know what this application looks like on your desk, though, it looks like this. It's kind of boring, honestly. Just a bunch of squares on top of each other, but it houses some pretty fun stuff. So in BrandServe, if you've never opened it up before, just so you know, it will ask you to submit like a little form to get permission. So if you haven't already done that, I recommend doing it, before you need it. That way you don't have to worry about rushing it. And once you're in here, you'll notice that there will be some stuff here with the latest tactics. Oh, look at that. It's the February holidays right there. Easy for us to find. And then there's also that right sizing thing that I mentioned. So let me pull into one of these really quick, just so you can see what it's like when they have one of these pre-made and where you can get the copy, because this is kind of a new, ooh, uh-oh. Hold on. I may have to log back in. I left it open too long. Didn't like me.
Wow,
there we go.
So much for being prepared, Molly.
I know, sorry. It doesn't usually log me out that quickly. There we go. And it brought me right back to where I was supposed to be. So in here in our right sizing area, if you see this additional information area, now sometimes this additional information, it just has the disclaimer just recopied for your use. We don't have to put our disclaimer in our text format. If it's, as long as it's on the picture, you're okay. And all of ours do have. That's kind of the nice part about doing it through BrandServe. They do all the disclaimer parts for you. You don't have to worry about it. But with this one, you get a special little extra piece here, and it's this little bit right here. Whoops, if you got a copy from the bottom. So it says, time to upsize or downsize. We can help you whether you need extra room for an office or a nursery or a smaller home that requires less upkeep and cost. We can guide you. And you can change this, right? You can say, I can guide you. And then, of course, there is a website link to find agents. That's for like the office to use. Like if Michelle wanted to post this out there, yeah, she could. But you guys can put your website link here, or you can just leave it with the copy and change it out to say, I can help you with that. So it's just a bouncing off point so that you can use these for your own social media. So this is kind of what they look like. You can see there's lots of different types of people, lots of different types of situations here with lots of kids or just an older couple who may be looking to downsize. Again, it's that right sizing bit. So that is something that you can find always in your, let me go back here for a second. Uh-oh, I think I broke it because I went in here like this. That's okay. We'll just go up here and look for our February holidays. I go with the flow, you guys. And I don't wait to fix things. I just keep pushing through them. So if you're ever looking for the holidays for any month, you can come into the search bar right here and you can search for the name of the month. So let's say you already have your February done because you're on top of things and you're ready to go to March. I can type in March up here. You'll see March holidays. You click on that. It's going to pull it up, and it'll have all the holidays here for you to choose from. You can see there's 3 pages, all different kinds. You don't have to put them all out there if you don't want to, but if you do want to, you can. Like I said, the additional copy, there isn't a ton here. Let's see if there's any adjacent copy. You can see right here. Comes with a nice little link here to look at a Word document. It's loading. Oh, it loaded on my other screen. Sorry. There you go. So now it's got, here you go, Women's History Month. We are proud of, celebrating women every day. Again, a lot of this is geared more towards the office, but I'm telling you about it so that you don't have to recreate the wheel every time you have to post something. So if you want to kind of steal the office copy, that's why it's there. Go ahead, get in there and steal it. We don't care. If there is an option for copy, it'll be right here in this additional info. So just make sure you read this additional info when you're going into these posts that are pre-made and don't really have a customization feature. And don't miss out on that copy. So let's just, sorry, I am like so parched all of a sudden. I think I'm like watching Leisha drink like an ice cold glass of water and getting jealous. Like my throat is getting jealous of you. Here we go. I was looking for this stuff right here. Now it's fixed. So if you're ever looking for something specific, definitely check out the campaigns area. This will group a lot of things together. One of the questions I had on my class yesterday was about quotables. A lot of you guys are probably like, hey, when is Moxie getting an update? When is my BrandServe quotables getting an update, right? As you guys know, we have our shareholders meeting. Like I have any part in it. Coldwell Banker has their shareholders meeting in, Realogy has it in February. It's usually late February. So the marketing team, which is more me, have everything kind of ready to go. We don't have the numbers yet, but the designing and stuff is happening. So over the month of March, you're going to be seeing things update. So if you are looking and you're curious about those updates for quotables, I bring that up because we have our quotable stats right here that you can come in and grab. This stuff, you can see it's empty right now. It'll be updating in March. So look out for that. Of course, you guys know I'll be back on sales meeting celebrating it, and I'll put out some of our cool numbers about how we're the best, et cetera, et cetera. You know the drill by now. So if you're looking for stuff, check out the campaigns. There's a great little grouping here. And if you're looking for just general social media posts, go into the marketing access and go into social media. There's posts right here. So you can just go in, click on them, and use them just like this stuff. So if you want to do a more browsing option versus a search option, that's why these little bars are here. So hopefully I know that was extremely brief, but I don't want to keep you guys too long. I have recorded classes of how to use BrandServe if you'd like me to send it, or I can, of course, meet with anybody one-on-one if you need me. But hopefully that'll at least give you somewhere to start.
On the ones for like if I picked February, I picked March, can I get all of those at once when I download those?
Good question.
Send me all of them, or do I pick?
Good question. So right now it doesn't let you do them all at once. You have to do them one by one because they have a customized DBA doing business as. But I don't know if you guys have been in here in the last week. This has literally changed just from last week. They are making it a lot more user friendly over the next couple months. That's one of the things that agents have asked for is like, hey, we really love this, but we need it to be more user friendly. So yeah, the backend team is working on something like that. Great question, because I have the same frustration too, because I have to go in and like hit customize for each of them. What I do is I stack them all up in my cart when I'm doing the checkout process. So I come in here and type in, my CBR, and I call this one, Black History Month, and then I'll go ahead and click on that, generate my proof, and then I just keep going through here. And I go back, and then I just add another one and another one to my little cart here, so I can check them all out at once. That's why I think it's really helpful to go in here and do them all for a month, get them all queued up, spend like an hour maybe, to download all of them and then upload them onto Facebook, and then you're done, right? Then you're like, I'm done with that for February. I'm done with that for March. It's a really nice way. I know that you guys have a lot, like agents, you guys have your little admin task. This is considered, in my opinion, more of an admin task than a marketing task. So if you have somebody who can help you with that, reach out to them. Or like I said, it probably doesn't take more than an hour, and I'm happy to help you guys as well.
And I think Michelle has been downloading these and putting these on our office Facebook page. So you
look
guys
at that
from there as well.
You guys, Michelle's awesome. You guys have the best staff. Like seriously, you guys have some of the best staff that we have. I really like. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to work with your office too much. Like, I mean, this last year it's been insane, but obviously I wasn't working with you guys before that. And can I just say how awesome your staff has been? Like, when we do onboarding, when I get to work with them, they are just like the easiest to work with, and they are so on top of everything. So you guys really, like, you lucked out. That's all I'm gonna say.
So sweet, Molly.
That's awesome. Michelle's in tears. She can't hold it back.
No, they seriously
So,
deserve
yeah,
all the
we'll
praise.
try-
Seriously.
Well, and it saves everybody else a lot of time. So I know Michelle has been posting these, so we'll try and make sure it's a regular thing that we're getting these out, and then you can just go back to our Facebook page and steal those pictures and post them. So, but if you want to get them all queued up before Michelle gets them on Facebook, now you know how. And I love this right sizing campaign. That's a great idea. I know we have agents in our office that work with a lot of downsizing families, so that's kind of their niche, and those are some great campaigns for that. And even first-time home buyers, it looks like there's some campaigns for moving from your first home to your next step.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a campaign that we really need out here. So hopefully we get some people moving, right?
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Excellent. Well, thank you. And thank you, everybody. And please reach out to Molly. And if you have any questions about BrandServe or anything else, Molly's your gal. And we will get out the information on the FHA. If there are any questions that we left unanswered, let us know. And we'll make sure we get them. So, okay, gang. Have a great one. Drive safe.